Kind of a funny story, brother. So my dad used to take us to all these wrestling tournaments, and we'd drive like 8 or 9 hours to Pocatello, Idaho, or Butte, Montana. He'd throw all the freaking kids in the car. We'd all have our sweatsuits on. You know, we're cutting weight. I'm like 10 years old. Anyhow, his deal was he'd say every 200 miles we'd all have to get out of the car and run a mile on the freeway. And if we were being bad in the car, or you know, if somebody was pissing my dad off, he'd get to that mile marker. So there's semis blowing past us, right? And my dad basically is like driving in front of us, probably not even like illegal, right? And so my dad is driving in front of us and we're running behind him. If we were being bad in the car, he'd get to that mile marker, we'd all get to the van, and then he'd just take off again. What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. I got myself a special guest. I grew up as a wrestler. I got a college wrestler here, family man, outdoorsman, UFC fighter with a 20-5 record, Cody Stamann. How are you, brother?
I'm doing really good, man. How are you?
Good to see you, man. Good, brother. Good. So you're from GR, now live in Vegas. We're talking earlier. I've been to GR a couple times, ate some good food there, and played plenty of pickle there. Always loved going to GR. Actually, I've been to Traverse City as well, if you know where Traverse City is.
Oh yeah.
So my hometown, my dad was an orchardist and grew a bunch of apples and cherries. Lake Traverse is very similar to my hometown in Central Washington. Really ag related. It's got a big old beautiful lake there. You know, kind of has that small town feel. Yeah, if there's two places I love to visit in Michigan, it's definitely Grand Rapids and Traverse City.
Yeah, so I actually grew up a little bit north of Grand Rapids in a town called Sparta, which all we did was grow apples. Like 90% of this town was just an apple orchard.
Oh, love it. Traverse City, you know, big with, growing apples and cherries. I know they have that big old cherry festival. I was actually teaching a camp there one year during Cherry Festival, and there was so many freaking people downtown Traverse City that it took me it was like 3 blocks to get to my hotel, and it took me like 20 minutes. That place was jam packed. But anyhow, so you said that you kind of grew up in a apple area or a agriculture area.
We were known for 2 things: growing apples and breeding wrestlers. Like that was it. Like that's all you did in this town.
Simple as that.
There wasn't a lot of options for me, like athletically.
Yeah.
Every other team that we had sucked, so it was like you needed to learn how to wrestle.
Get your ass in that wrestling room, and then you're picking apples, you know, from September through October. I love it, man. Okay, so tell me, so what is your story, brother? How'd you get going? I guess what kind of drew you to combat sports?
Well, I mean, in reality, like when I was growing up as a kid, I really thought I was going to play like professional ball. I thought I was going to play in the NFL, but you know, nature had different plans for me. I'm like 5'6", so it just wasn't really. I mean, I was a pretty good ball player, but I mean, when you got guys that are 250 pounds that can do everything you can. Like, yes, it's not happening. So, yeah, I kind of like really late in life, I really started focusing on wrestling. It's like, all right, I'm going to take this serious. Obviously, I'm not going to play professional football.
Right.
So, you know, I started taking wrestling serious. You know, started wrestling year round. And actually, my cousin on my mom's side, they ran a boxing gym, like the only boxing gym in our area. So I boxed too. And like that was just more of like I just enjoyed boxing. You know what I mean? I really wasn't.
This is in high school, you said?
I had no ambitions to like fight professionally. That wasn't never like something I had ever planned on doing. And then, you know, as MMA kind of started to grow, like there's MMA shows, you know, in my backyard and happening all the time, and I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, man, I think like, you know, I'm telling everybody like I could whoop everyone in the cage right now.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, just with the wrestling boxing experience that I have.
Yeah, for sure.
So I did, and I tried it out. It was more like a bucket list thing. It wasn't really anything I intended on doing, and I did it a couple times, and I just fell in love with it. I just literally couldn't do anything else. MMA just kind of took over my life.
Yep.
One step at a time. Before I knew it, I was, you know, moving to Detroit, fighting full time, training, running a gym, you know, and then luckily enough for me, like MMA just blew up. So,
right. So hang on. So you wrestled. So did you start MMA your senior year?
So I didn't start MMA until I was out of high school. I boxed and wrestled. I actually competed in boxing for the first time.
Okay.
My senior year of high school, and I won the Golden Glove state championship.
Then you went to Grand Valley State and wrestled, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I wrestled there for a little bit. But then, like I said, like MMA, like I didn't care to really wrestle. The only reason I was wrestling was to, be in shape for fights. Yeah. So
Cody wanted some violence, man.
I just tried. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was always a pretty rough and rowdy kid.
Were you?
Like there was a fight to be had. I mean,
Cody's in there.
We need to talk about this. We don't need to do it. I was like, all right, dude, lace up, let's go.
Yeah, love it.
I was always that kind of kid. But
do you have any siblings?
Yeah,
Sorry.
What's that?
Do you have any siblings?
I do. Yeah, I'm the oldest of 4.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like kind of like the the older brother. Like if someone had a problem, like small town shit. Like there's always some kind of small town beef going on.
Bring that shit. Bring it.
I was always the guy that was like ready to solve some problems.
I love it. Yeah, bro. I was I'm the youngest of 7. There's 6 McGuffin boys and 1 sister. Wow. I was my dad was a wrestling coach for like 30 or 40 years. So I kind of grew up in a rough and tough small town, similar to yourself. And the only way to survive was to get my ass in that wrestling room and fight. Yeah. And I always tell people, like, wrestling's the type of sport where you kind of have to hate it to love it. Like, you have to love the suffer to like find some enjoyment in it.
Wrestling is the most brutal thing you'll ever do. Like, I mean, people ask like, what's harder, like MMA or wrestling? And like, there's no comparison. Like, wrestling is the worst. Yeah. The worst. Right. The wrestling practices that I do every week are the practices that I do not look forward to doing because they're so brutally hard. You get twisted up, you get banged up, you get dropped on your head. Right. I mean, to where like kickboxing, boxing, like training, all that stuff, I actually really enjoy that. But,
right.
Man,
So,
wrestling,
right.
So the most brutal part.
So the gas tank with wrestling, obviously, it's does more on your body. You need more of a gas tank. Where kickboxing, boxing, you're probably not exerting as much energy, correct?
Yeah, it's more of an aerobic thing. Right. And you can find breaks in a wrestling match. There's no such thing. Like you're wrestling.
Balls to the wall.
You take a break and you end up on your head.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a different thing. And I think there's 2 things that make wrestlers successful in MMA. One is just the technical aspect of it. Like if you can wrestle, you can control where a fight goes. Good chance that you can win that fight.
Take a look at Islam.
Also, it's the mentality, like the mentality that wrestlers have. You know what I mean? Like if you can take a wrestler straight out of the wrestling room, someone that was actually like competitive as a wrestler, that has that one-on-one combat experience, and turn him into a fighter so much faster than you can turn somebody else into a fighter, just because like they really understand the grind. They know how to work hard. Like they're not like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Like in wrestling, like you're just like, that's like bred out of you. Like you get to the wrestling room, you don't talk, you just work. Yeah. And that's one thing that I think, it's kind of overlooked. People don't really think about that. Like wrestling breeds you to be a hard worker and to be disciplined and to be all the things that really take to be successful at really anything. I think so. I mean, look at you, like, look how good you are at pickleball. Obviously, you have a tennis background too, but you got to believe that like the discipline of wrestling has definitely helped you.
Oh, it's truly installed who I am today. Yeah, of course, brother. No, for sure. The mental toughness, what I'm able to kind of come up with like when like my back's against a wall, that never say never spirit. I got a crust built around me at a very young age, just by being the youngest, growing up in a wrestling family. And like the character that is built through wrestling and through how tough wrestling coaches are, it's a different type of sport, that's for sure. Kind of a funny story, brother. So my dad used to take us to all these wrestling tournaments, and we'd drive like 8 or 9 hours to Pocatello, Idaho, or Butte, Montana. He'd throw all the freaking kids in the car. We'd all have our sweatsuits on, we're cutting weight. I'm like 10 years old. Anyhow, his deal was he'd say every 200 miles, we'd all have to get out of the car and run a mile on the freeway. And if we were being bad in the car, or, you know, if somebody was pissing my dad off, he'd get to that mile marker. So there's semis blowing past us, right? And my dad basically is like driving in front of us. It's probably not even like legal, right? And so my dad is driving in front of us, and we're running behind him. If we're being bad in the car, he'd get to that mile marker. We'd all get to the van, and then he'd just take off again. Tough love, baby. No, but I mean, that's the type of stuff, you know? I mean, wrestlers are just built different, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
my dad definitely left me at a few tournaments as a kid because I'm still a pretty bad loser.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would lose and just lose. Rip my singlet off.
Oh yeah.
Throwing shit, kicking shit, just acting like an absolute idiot. And just leave me there.
That's too funny.
Walk home. I don't care. Like, figure it out.
That's perfect. So my dad, we'd go to like a freestyle tournament in the summer. And all the McGuffins, like all my brothers, we'd get done with our bracket, and my dad would try to set up like exhibition matches with other dads or like other coaches, right? So like, bro, right when we were done with our event, like once I got my medal, I went to the bathroom, I showered, I took my shoes off, and cause like my dad would literally, he'd try to set up like 4 or 5 exhibition matches after that. And I'm like, Dad, I'm freaking done, man. I've been wrestling from like 8 to 6. I'm done. Let's get the hell out of here. But I mean, that's just how wrestling coaches are, right? It's common in wrestling.
One more.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Like my dad always had his foot on the gas, and yeah, there's another story where my oldest brother actually wrestled for Boise State. There's a guy named Kirk White. Kirk White won the NCAAs, I don't know, back in like the late 90s. Kirk White's kind of funny. He actually plays pickle right now. But long story short, so my oldest brother, Jay, he's like 43 now. He's a head wrestling coach at a school in Seattle. He at like the age of 10, he'd won nationals, and of course the tournament, like they didn't have the medal, right? So he was on the medal stand, didn't get his medal. And for like 8 weeks after, he kept bugging the hell out of my dad about this medal, right? And finally my dad's like, hey, he's like, Jay, if you ask me about that medal again, he's like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And this is when my dad, like, you know, he's like early 20s, fiery as could be. He's got his first son. And I kid you not, but Jay was in the back seat and he asked about that medal. My dad turned around and freaking backhanded him in the face. Jay's bleeding, but yeah, it just comes to show that wrestlers are they definitely have a couple screws loose, and yeah, it's just a different breed, you know.
Yeah.
Don't ask me about that medal.
No other sport you're ever gonna, you know what I mean? Like the things that we did, like to get ready for wrestling tournaments, and like how we put ourselves through, and like just the conditioning that you had to do, like every other thing just seemed fun. I mean, that's literally why I play pickleball, is because like my job essentially like is to like punch my friends in the face like throughout the week.
Yeah, no, for
like,
sure.
We go play pickleball, and
for
it's
sure.
just like, dude, this is so fun because we're just like, we're outside, we're hanging out. It's so weird. We talked about it. We're like, man, I think we like this so much because it's relaxed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're actually competing, but we're taking it super serious. But at the same time, like it's so much easier than what we do on a daily basis. I mean, we're terrible.
Of course.
But we we enjoy it, to where like, fighting day in and day out, like it's a scrap, and if you make a mistake, you get hurt, and in pickleball, like you make a mistake, you just chuck your paddle and
you make a mistake and you end up with a plastic tattoo, but it's definitely not a fist.
Yeah.
But no, bro, that's what's so cool about pickle. Like it caters to everybody. It works for all demographics. It's easy to play. It's fairly inexpensive unless you show up to my camps. It's it's social. You can talk a little trash. Don't judge a book by its cover, because I'm sure, as you've seen, you can go to local courts, and I mean, if you end up on a court with a 70 or an 80-year-old that has some good court sense, it definitely may hurt your pride. So pickles. Go ahead.
We got whooped by a couple old dudes that could barely walk. The old dudes that got like the elbow.
Oh yeah.
Like the knee pads. They like come on the court. They're like walking all wobbly.
Yeah.
Like, what is this guy doing? Like, you guys want to play? I'm like, sure. We're gonna kill you. And they whooped us, man. And they were playing me and my buddy who was like a stud D1 athlete.
Right,
like,
right.
I was embarrassed. I was like, dude, how did that just happen?
No, of course. So my trainer here in Coeur d'Alene, you may know him, you may not. He wrestled in Bellator, or he wrestled in Bellator. He fought in Bellator for a little bit. His name's Craig Feisner. But a guy.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, a guy from Coeur d'Alene. Anyhow, he's I mean, as like yourself, he's just a dog, and he takes his shirt off and he's shredded, right? So I got him playing pickle about 6 months ago. He's been playing like 3 or 4 days a week now, and same type of thing. He ends up showing up at the local courts, takes his shirt off, and he gets his ass kicked by a couple guys in their 80s. He comes back to me and he's like, bro, I need to take a camp.
Yeah, I need to do this. I'm dead serious. I really do. Next time you have a camp in Vegas, I have like 20 guys that want to play. And they're all like,
I'll invite the whole gang. Yeah,
too.
for sure, man. It's on me. I got you guys. Okay, so tell me about your thoughts on UFC 280, man. That card was stacked. I'll tell you what.
UFC 280, man. It was insane. It was an awesome fight card. And honestly, like the Jan O'Malley fight is something that everyone's talked about. Like after that, it was like a super controversial decision. Obviously, maybe some judging issues. I thought Jan won, but honestly, I thought that O'Malley's stock went up like exponentially because like I didn't honestly believe that kid was a dog. Like I really thought,
I didn't either.
And I've been trying to fight him forever because I just believed that like I could just go in there and like break him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, give me 7 minutes with him, and like maybe he wins the first 7 minutes, but the next 7 minutes are going to be hell for him.
Yeah.
And I think he showed people that like he's legit. Like he's willing to fight through, go to those dark places and make it happen. And so like as much as I hate saying it, but like the kid's legit. I mean, and top to bottom, that card was insane. I mean, I kind of saw that the main event playing out the way it did. I really did think that Islam was going to go out there and win that fight. I mean, you don't get the kind of hype that guy has. Like not even in the sense of like from the MMA fans, but from like the MMA community, from other athletes that I've trained with. Yeah. That are just like, dude, you don't understand this guy. He's good. Like if he takes you down, you're never getting back up. Like he's gonna take a body part with you. Like he's that good. Like I don't really see anyone in that division that's gonna be able to beat him for a long time.
Yeah, it's true. No, Islam, and that's what you're saying earlier. I mean, like wrestlers that, like, it doesn't matter how good a boxer you are. It seems like grapplers like Khabib and Islam and that whole style, like. They can beat strikers all day. It doesn't matter how good you are on your feet. Once you get taken down, they just hang on like a leech and just find a way, I mean, it's surgical. I mean,
it's over.
Yeah, it's over, bro. It's over.
Yeah, and like those Russian guys are scary, dude. They just like we're like
Dagestanian machines.
Dude, they just like they grew up in a very, very hard environment. So, I mean, I feel like MMA to them is like it's just like a game, and
right,
and like they have no.
That's a great way to put it.
Like there's no like real emotion. Those guys are like scary just to be around. Being honest,
right?
Like they're like they could be like serial killer vibes.
It's crazy, bro. It gives me goosebumps. That's wild. But no, I think what we all saw is that O'Malley has a chin. I mean, he got touched a couple times, and I mean there was a couple rights that Jan threw that I thought usually knocks out most guys in that division, and O'Malley kept moving forward. I mean the crazy thing, and I mean I don't know how much weight you cut, but I mean O'Malley's obviously a huge 35-pounder, right? And it seemed like, I mean I don't know, looking at his stories, he was mentioning that like 12 hours or I don't know 18 hours after weigh-ins he was up to 155. I mean, what do you think he went in that fight weighing?
Yeah, I mean, probably like close to 55, 60.
Okay.
And that's really not that like I probably step into the cage between 55 and 60.
You do? Okay, got it. Okay.
And like you'd be surprised how many guys are even get bigger than that. Guys are cutting crazy amounts of weight, and they're doing it in a super scientific way. I mean, yeah. Like the way we cut weight is changed so much. It's super scientific. People know exactly. I do all kinds of crazy body composition testing, and my diet plan is like regimented exactly to my body type. Like the science behind it has come a long ways, but still, I mean, weight cutting is the most horrible thing you'll ever do.
No,
It's
for sure.
it's a brutal, miserable part of the sport, but it's not going away. You know what I mean? You just got to figure out the best way to do it for yourself and
Right.
get it done, because that's just part of like competing in MMA. You have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have a huge disadvantage going into the fight, because homeboy's going to be 10 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a scary thought, going into an MMA fight against someone that's, you know, essentially trained to hurt you in
Right.
a million different ways.
So with living in Vegas and having, you know, access to the UFC Performance Institute, you get all those resources where you can work with a physio and check your labs and, you know, things like that, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I do everything from diet, physical therapy, strength conditioning. It's all there. And there's tons of, and it's one thing that, like, I think the one thing that really separates the UFC PI from like any other place I've ever used or gone to is that, like, they all work together. You know what I mean? So the dietitians, the nutritionists, they're working with the physical therapy, and the physical therapy people are working with the strength conditioning. Like, so everything is tailored towards you, right, and, you know, what you need, you know, what injuries you need to work around. And they're really good at their job. All they do is work with fighters nonstop. So these people understand kind of what we need to do. And it's amazing.
That's cool, brother.
And like, speaking of like the strength conditioning, like, there's all, I don't know if you've ever done any like snapback training. Like, ever wore like the Snapchat. There's like two different things. There's one, like, it's like a screen, and it's all these different like reaction tests.
Okay. And
then there's another one where like they have these like glasses that you can put on that kind of like blur your vision. Dude,
I just started like using those with Craig. So there's various modes, right? Like the last mode, it's like blinking super fast. The first mode, it stays on for 3 seconds and then goes off. Yeah. So he's been throwing balls at me with those things on. I've been working on, like, you know, my reaction speed and being, you know, like a half a second quicker. I mean, all that stuff plays a part.
Everything. Yeah, like in your sport, in my sport, like, how fast you can react to something is everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
being like 2% better.
Second nature. You got to be like, you got to be on, like, right there.
That's cool.
And like, so I mean, all the different like weird scientific tools that you can use.
Yeah. So many cool things out there right now, right?
Yeah, there really is. There really is. Like, the sports science side of
it's taken off.
Athletics right now is like just taking off. Like, people are realizing, like, you can like maximize what it is to be an athlete. You know what I mean? If you're willing to do like the right things. Yeah.
Got to be willing to put in the work. So on the recovery side, like, I use Beamer therapy. I do NAD through IV. I get IVs every week. I usually get Meyer cocktails. I do cryo, you know, compression boots, all the above. You kind of in that same boat?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a lot of it's, you know, I do like a lot of like ice and heat therapy. And then a lot of it's just PT, man. Your body just gets warped up. Yeah. In so many different ways, you know what I mean? Having like the really good physical therapist there to like work things out, that seems to be the most beneficial. I mean, I have everything. I have the compression boots. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have access to cryo. I have access to all that stuff.
But yeah, good really body work.
What it comes down to is like, a good diet, and you know, having somebody physically like do deep tissue seems to be like the best way to prevent injury, you know. And then, you know, doing the little stuff, you know, like warming up, stretching out before and after a workout. Like, it seems so mundane and like old school, but really, like, you have to do that stuff. I mean, because I'll do anywhere from like 10 to 15 workouts a week, you know. So if I don't take, you know, a few hours every week to like maintain my body, like, I just fall apart. By Friday, I'm like, I'm a shell of a man. You know what I mean? If I'm not eating right, if I'm not doing the right things, you know what I mean? If I'm not living like a super healthy, clean lifestyle, getting enough sleep, you know, there's so much
sleep
more,
is huge,
so much
right?
More than just,
how many?
Yeah, so much more than just.
Right. How many hours of sleep do you get a night, brother?
I have to get 8.
Yeah, same here.
If I don't get 8 hours, I'm a mess. I need 8 hours.
Yeah. Seems like the best time for your body to recover is at night, you know?
Yeah, you need that. I mean, and it's like I said, it's not even a job, right? Like a job, you work, you know, 40, 60 hours a week and you're done, dude. Being an athlete it's your whole life. Yeah. It's your whole life. There's not an on and off switch. It's not like, hey, like, I'm just gonna, you know, not do the things I know I need to do, like, because the results are the results are shit. Like you have to dedicate your whole life to,
Right.
you know, performing at a high level. Like that means every single part of your life has to be dialed in, or like you're a step behind somebody else.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me what a daily, or I guess tell me what a day looks like for you as far as when you wake up, how you train, eat, all that good stuff. Kind of take me through a day in Cody's life.
So normally I get up at like 7. My first training session would be at like 9. Next one would be at 1. Last one would probably be around 3:30. And, you know, really only one of those sessions is hard. The other 2 are kind of more like a drilling session. And, you know, I'm eating anywhere from like 3 to 5 small meals throughout the day, just kind of maintaining. And then I got to find some time to do some kind of physical therapy, you know, an ice bath, maybe at the end of the day, something, just to kind of maintain my health. And I'm, you know, throughout the day, pounding tons of water, tons of vitamins. And, you know, I guess also, you know, throughout the week, I got to kind of listen to my body. You know, if I'm getting banged up and, you know, there's a session that I need to take off, like I have to be smart enough at this point in my career to be like, okay, like it's counterproductive for me to like go do this hard workout right now. Like I should just go do PT. I should go recover.
Right. Exactly.
You know, I should go do some mobility exercises. Like, and that's like one of the hardest things, you know, coming from like a wrestling background, is like
taking a foot off the gas a little bit.
That, like, hey, yeah, like today's not the day where like you go out and be here. Like you need to actually
right, for sure.
Fix what you have going on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a hard concept.
Especially in your sport, man. Of course. I mean, I'm sure there's so much added recovery. You know, I mean, my sport's, you know, I mean, it's lateral movement, it's side to side, but you know, we're not getting punched, we're not getting kicked, we're not getting, you know, grappled around. So, I mean, I would assume.
Hopefully not.
You know, combat sports, obviously, you know, so much added recovery, right?
Oh yeah. It's not a 9 to 5. It's your whole entire life. Like you don't have a lot of time to do anything else.
Right.
You know,
for sure.
You're wired in 24/7.
Let's see here. What else have I got? So tell me, what are your hobbies, brother? So I know you're an outdoorsman. What do you like to do?
Outside of pickleball, yeah, I'm pretty
outside of pickle, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pickle's number 1, right?
No, well, it's getting there.
I'm just kidding.
I'm big. I'm a big outdoorsman. You know, I like to hunt, fish. Well, mostly hunt. You know, I'm a big. I love bird hunting. I don't know why. I always have. It's like something I did as a kid with my dad growing up, and like I still do it. I go all over the place. Like right now, it's like hunting season right now. So, you know, I'll find a weekend or, you know, Saturday morning to go hunting. You know, I don't get to do it as much as I like, but you know, I'm more of like a gearhead. You know what I mean? It's like my therapy. Like I'm literally looking at hunting stuff 6 days a week, trying to find what hunting thing I need to buy for my next hunt.
I love it.
Probably won't go on because I'm going to be training.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, that's another thing. You need that. You need something else that you enjoy doing outside of like competing in MMA, because like this shit will run you down if you don't have other things that you enjoy. You know what I mean? Things that you look forward to on the weekends. Because like if you don't like plot in those like hunting trips or those pickleball games, like it's just me in the gym.
Yeah, it's a little much.
And, you know, looking like a mangy dog after a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think if you're not a happy person, you're probably not going to fight well, correct? You know, I mean, so much of my success has come by my wife and making my life easier, and she's my biggest support system. And you know, if things are dialed like with us, and I'm happy with life, then I tend to play better. So I think that all kind of goes hand in hand, you know.
Yeah.
So tell me, Cody, do you have any businesses, or I guess do you do anything outside of, you know, just performing as an athlete?
Yeah. So I mean, for most of my athletic career, I've helped run my family business, which is like a restoration company. But you know, fighting, you know, the last few years, I've done pretty well. So I've actually turned that into like a home remodeling business. So I'll buy over the summer I bought a cabin in Utah, completely remodeled it, and it's an Airbnb now. Cool. So that's kind of like the end goal.
Yep.
Win a fight, buy a house, rent it out on Airbnb.
Smart man.
So hopefully, you know.
Do you do all the remodel?
Yeah. Well, this one in particular, I did everything myself. I couldn't get any contractors up there for a reasonable price.
What a stud.
To do anything. So I'm lucky that, you know, like I grew up doing that kind of stuff, and I can actually, you know, do the work. But dude, I really don't like doing it. Like
I can only imagine.
I didn't enjoy like fully remodeling this cabin like every weekend all summer.
Right, I'm sure.
You know, but lucky I got it done. So
right. Kind of sounds like fighting. Just sounds like tough and aggressive.
Just no break, man. Like fighting all week.
Right. Exactly.
I had a rough summer.
Yeah, that's cool though, brother. So do you just have one property right now?
So that's my third.
Oh, cool.
My third property. I mean, the goal is 10. I want 10 before I'm done.
Good for you, man.
So I need to get to work.
Get to work, baby. And Code, you're 32, correct?
Yeah.
I'm 32 as well, man. Love it. You
good age.
It's a great age. It's a great age. Did you graduate in 08?
Yeah.
Love it.
You too?
Yep, I was an 08 guy. Yep, graduated from Lake Chelan High. Broke my dad's heart my senior year. I had a wrestling scholarship to go wrestle at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, go wrestle D2, or I had a scholarship to go play junior college at Scottsdale. It was kind of I ran just a little wild in high school, if you know what I mean. Kind of probably similar to yourself, you know. I was kind of a rebel child, and anyhow, sports was my outlet, and I ended up breaking my dad's heart my senior year. I was his last son. I was his last McGuffin. He wanted me to, you know, he was dying for me to wrestle in college, and I ended up playing 2 years of junior college tennis, and then had a scholarship to go to a Division I school in Spokane, Washington called Eastern. Turned that down, got certified to start teaching tennis, and then kind of taught tennis for about 10 or 12 years through a couple clubs, and worked as a head pro, then worked as a director. And then this silly game called pickleball got thrown in my lap. In 2015, I fell in love with it, and I said, screw my job. I got plenty of fire left. I'm not freaking done.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, man. And honestly too, like, I mean, tennis is great, but what's great about pickle is that there's not a whole lot of status. The camaraderie is awesome. It's super embracing. I mean, you know, my brother's a prime example. Like he's a little heavier set. He's lost a bunch of weight through playing pickleball. He has like this whole newfound confidence. He didn't used to date back in the day. Now he's dating, and I don't know. There's just so many cool benefits that come by being a part of like this whole new community that's super embracing, and it's easy, and I don't know. You just don't get that cattiness that like you do with, you know, higher end sports like tennis and golf and, you know, other racket sports.
No, I get it. Yeah, I was definitely super. I kind of thought that's how it was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like my buddy Joe Benavidez. I don't know.
Of course, I know that stud. Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, like an absolute like stud. He's a really good friend of mine. He talked me into going and playing. He's like, no, dude, everyone's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. Like, do I gotta wear a polo? Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, and I went and played and saw how cool everybody was. Like, everyone was super inviting and helpful. And I was like, man, this is fun.
Yeah,
it's like,
Love
3 days a week, like we're on the court.
Get it?
It's like that's like a scheduled in workout at this point.
Love it. Hey, so after we get done here, I'm gonna get your address and I'm gonna send you some gear. One thing I'm gonna send you is one of these guys. This is my signature paddle.
Dude, no way. I was literally gonna ask you. That's so badass, man. Thank you.
Got you, brother. Yes.
I was literally gonna ask you. I was like, dude, what paddle should I be using? Like,
yeah.
Because I got some cheap Amazon paddles. Like, I want to get serious.
I got you, Cody. So I'm gonna send you the TM special. I got a bunch of merchandise. I'll send you a couple hats. Tell me what size of shoe are you?
8.5.
8.5. Okay, I'm 9.5. So I have a signature shoe. Have a signature shoe with Skechers that I just built, and I'm gonna send you a pair of those as well, man. I got you.
That's awesome.
So obviously, you know, Craig, my trainer has a jiu-jitsu gym, and there's like wrestling mats in there, and we do boxing and all that. Anyhow, so our training is like a mixture of, we'll do like some wrestling, just because, you know, that's my roots, and then we'll definitely throw some hands for some, you know, some reaction speed and kind of work on, you know, whether he's throwing stuff at me and I'm kind of working on dodging, or, you know, I'm throwing hands. But it's a mixture of boxing, cardio, strength training, and obviously, you know, with my wrestling background, it's kind of nice to have like an MMA guy that, you know, is rough and tough and can kind of push me in the right direction, you know?
Right. Yeah, you need that. That. It's almost like you don't trust somebody unless they.
It's true. No, it's true, man. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like such a weird community amongst wrestlers.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like I see a dude with cauliflower ears. I'm like, what's up, dude?
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean? I just like, there's like a weird respect for anybody that like went through, what wrestlers go through. Like you're automatically like, I don't know, you just understand, and it's a strange thing.
No, it's an instant bond. No, truly. And tell me, so how is your pickle game? What is your main strength in pickle? Do you have any questions for me? Can I educate you? Are you, hitting your third ball drop? Are you hitting any dinks? Are you just trying to drive your way through everything?
How much time do you have? To be honest with you, like I'm really not good at pickleball.
Yeah, right.
I'm not actually good. I think that I'm good sometimes because I'll do some pretty athletic stuff, or like I'll hit like a really nice shot, like, and just get lucky. But I'm so inconsistent. Like yesterday, we played for like 3 hours, dude, and I just played so bad. And the guy I was playing with was like super, super competitive, and he was pissed because I was just goofing up everything. I mean, just the easiest shots.
Yeah, for sure.
Just messing up. You know what I mean? Like doubles is kind of where it's at in pickleball. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Doubles is everything.
Right. I mean, doubles is like the mainstream thing. I mean, even though I've had more success in singles, and I truly love singles, me having a wrestling background and the whole like individual aspect of singles, love it. But yeah, what sells on TV and what sells in pickle is definitely the doubles aspect. So
doubles, yeah, everybody wants to play doubles. I prefer singles too, because I'm like, if I mess up, it's on me.
Yeah.
I don't want to let somebody else down. But honestly, I can't keep the ball down.
Okay.
That's my
keep that thing down, Cody.
I know, but that's my biggest thing. We'll be sitting in the kitchen and I was lob one up and I got one coming back in my head at 100 miles an hour, and I'm just like, dude, I deserve this. Like, I messed up.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've had various wrestlers take camps from me, and it seems like the usual wrestler is like a little stiff. They tend to kind of use their wrists a little too much. Maybe like they get a little too upright. It's funny. Like I actually got introduced to tennis at the age of 14 because my dad would go play tennis on like Sundays with all these wrestling coaches, and it was all just a bunch of hackers trying to play tennis, right? And anyhow, so yeah, if you're having a hard time keeping the ball down, I like to say it's like kissing a baby versus slapping a baby. Like you would never slap a baby, right? So you just want to kind of touch the back of it, or think about like touching like the back 2%. But obviously if you're popping balls up, it is not a good day. You want to try to keep the ball down in a non-attackable area so your opponents can't hurt you, right?
Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah, and I actually watched one of your videos, and it made a ton of sense. And like actually just like watching someone who's really, really good at something. Yeah. Watch how they play and like how like disciplined their body is, and then like realize like how undisciplined I am. It's like the same in fighting.
Yeah, of course,
I watch somebody
right.
that really isn't very good at fighting.
Right.
And I'm like, it just comes down to like they don't have the same like discipline with like everything, all their movement. You know what I mean? Everything is forced.
Yep.
And then you watch someone that's like
natural and it's loose and fluid, right?
Yeah, everything's fluid. Everything like the positioning's right. Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that I do well in the pickleball court is that I have wheels. So I can get
you got wheels, baby. What?
Other than that, I got wheels and a good reaction. Other than that,
that's funny. Well, hey,
who knows where it's going?
Yeah, right. Well, and hey, and from like a beginner's perspective, most beginners, or I guess most lower level players, don't think they have a whole lot of time, but know that you have more time than you think, brother. Once you can swallow that down, that you have more time than you think, then you'll like settle your body position. You won't be dancing as much. Think about having anchors on your feet, doing less. I mean, obviously easier said than done, but obviously make it look like it's not your first rodeo, Cody. Dial things down. It's like you got a bowl on your head, you got anchors on your feet, and keep that stuff still.
It's the same in fighting. If I could just take the things that I know as an athlete, combat, and like apply into pickleball, I'd be pretty good. But yeah.
That's too funny.
That hasn't quite happened yet.
Right. I got a funny story, bro. So the very first time that I threw hands with Craig, and actually it was the first time ever where I've thrown hands, but I didn't have gloves on, so Craig was throwing hands at me, and I'm just kind of working on dodging. I kid you not, the very first strike that he throws it right down the pipe, catches me right in the nose, and this is like 20 minutes into meeting this dude. My nose starts bleeding, And anyhow, my reaction and my movement has gotten much better since day one. But the very first punch right down the pipe caught me in the nose started bleeding.
That's how you get good at fighting now. You
get hit once.
That's why no one wants to do it. It's because that's why no one wants to compete at a high level. It's like you're gonna get your ass kicked so many times before, you know what I mean? Like before you're the hammer. Like you're gonna take a ton of beatings before that happens, and you just kind of gotta swallow that and figure it out. There's no other way to do it.
No, for sure. And it's funny too how my reaction time and like my alertness after getting punched once was very, very different. You know, like all it takes is getting punched once, and then you freaking wake up.
Yeah, and also mean like you're on.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any comments about the Silva and Paul fight? I know you mentioned you didn't watch it.
If I'm being honest, the whole Silva Logan Paul fight, I mean, Anderson Silva is damn near a 50-year-old man. Like he's competed in combat sports his entire life. Like the dude's beat up, he's old. I mean, and Jake Paul, as much as I like don't like his antics, like he's kind of taken like a pretty smart avenue as far as how to mark himself as a boxer. Like fight someone with a big name that's 10 years out of their prime. You know what I mean? To where like you can just kind of use your youthful advantage to take them out. I mean, that is super. I didn't see the fight. I've seen some highlights. Right. You know, but in every single aspect of like boxing, you know, Anderson Silva is way better than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? And like until I see Jake Paul fight an actual legit boxer around his age, he doesn't even need to be like a WBC champ. He just needs to be a relevant athlete around his age. Like until then, like it's hard as an athlete to like respect him. Like I respect what he does, you know, as a promoter, and you know some of the things that he's doing, you know, to kind of like raise awareness for like fighter pay and all that stuff. Like I appreciate all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like athlete to athlete, man to man, like until you go in there and fight a dog, you know, I can't like respect your game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like if I'm on a pickleball court and I'm like playing 7-year-olds and I'm just smoking them, you know, 11-0 every game. You know, like
that's good analogy.
Like you're standing on the sideline watching me. Like, does this guy really think he's good at this game?
Right, for
sure. You know, like
that makes a lot of sense.
That's kind of the same feeling I have with Jake Paul. It's like, dude, until you get in there with somebody that like, you know, is relevant. Like, not a retired MMA fighter. Yeah. MMA fighters, we're not boxers. We can't do what those guys do. Like those guys have one singular focus their entire career, and it's throwing hands. We have a million other things that we're just not as good at boxing as they are. Right. That's the reality. Like this, we're not. We're really not. There's 90 other things that we have to know. You know, so like our time towards that we, you know, allocate towards boxing is 1/10 of what they do. You know, so it's a completely different sport.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, Cody, appreciate you coming on, my man.
No, this is fun, dude. This is fun. I'm glad we linked up.
Yeah, for sure. Nice to meet you.
Next time you're in town.
Yeah, love to. Yeah, I'm gonna grab your address, send you some gear. Next time I'm in Vegas, definitely take one of my camps. It's on me, and I would love to invite like 5 or 10 other UFC guys, and you know, take care of the whole gang. Maybe in return, I could get some tickets or something like that. You know? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll hook you up. I'll tell you what. You know, I think that one thing that you really enjoy is going to the UFC PI.
Okay.
And like a lot of the guys that work there, like I play pickleball with those guys, so that I'm sure they would love me.
Yeah.
We'll do some. We'll line up some like baseline testing.
Let's do it.
Like
hell yeah.
All the like the same testing the fighters do.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually, dude, it's crazy beneficial just to see like a baseline, like where you at in terms of like
all those categories,
things.
Yeah.
And then to like build a program around that would be really, really cool to see. Like
cool, brother.
How that could be applicable to like your sport.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me, have you been up to North Idaho? Been up to an area called Coeur d'Alene? No. Okay, well, we live in God's country up here, man. Nothing but pine trees and mountains and beautiful lakes all over. So if you ever get a chance, if you're ever in North Idaho, definitely get at me. But thanks again for coming on, Cody. And Good luck. You have a fight coming up when? I mean, you're just kind of waiting, or?
Dude, yeah, I had one in November. I had one in December. Nothing panned out, but I definitely have one at the beginning of next year. So
patiently waiting and always staying ready.
that's what you have to do.
Love it, bro. All right, my man. Take care, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.